Yo, what is going on guys? My name is Saif Khan and welcome back to Second Take. In today's video, we'll be going through a young NBA team known as the Oklahoma City Thunder. First, we'll be talking about their young core and their overall roster. Then we'll move into discussing their draft picks, in which they have over $1 billion of those stacked. Then finally, we'll be transitioning into discussing what the future holds for them and what decisions they can make to significantly boost their team. Now, before we get into the video, make sure to subscribe and like the video. I promise you will not regret it. And with that being said, let's head straight into the video. The Oklahoma City Thunder are led by their rising star Gilgeous-Alexander, who is also accompanied by Ludor, Darius Bazley, Ty Jerome, and Alex Pocavez, and newly added Kemba Walker. This roster is very young, the youngest in the NBA, and still has a lot of improvement that needs to be made. Let's start with their rising star Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai is a leader and the best player on the Thunder. He's only at the age of 22 and has so much potential if he continues to grow at this rate. Shai was selected by the Clippers with the 11th pick in 2018. He spent his rookie season there averaging 26 minutes a game, 10 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists, while shooting 47% from the field and 37% from long range, while also starting 73 games out of the 82 games he appeared in, also referring to the full season. In July of 2019, Shai and other valuable assets were traded to OKC Thunder in exchange for All-Pro Paul George. This trade ultimately helped Shai expand his game as he didn't have much restriction as his team was obviously rebuilding. In the 2019-2020 season, Shai appeared in 70 games, averaging 19, 6, and 3 while also playing nearly 35 minutes a game. The Thunder in the 2019-2020 season were originally projected to miss the playoffs and finish around the 12th to 15th seed. They surprised everyone and actually made the playoffs, led by their coach Billy Donovan and all-star point guard Chris Paul. The Thunder finished off with a record of 44-28, which resulted in the 5th seed in the Western Conference, and in the first round they matched up against the 4th seed Houston Rockets, in which they lost the series in 7 in the most heartbreaking fashion. Now, before I get into what happened, let me go back to Shai, who at the time showed tremendous potential and the Thunder knew he was a vital part of the future. The very next season, even though Shai only played 35 games, he averaged career highs in almost everything, averaging nearly 24 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists while shooting 50% from the field and 42% from downtown. This gave a clear indication that he will be the building block for the franchise in the years to come. Now, going back to after the first round series against the Rockets, the Thunder blew up their roster even more. That offseason, the Thunder traded Steven Adams, Chris Paul, Danilo Gallinari, Abdel Nader, and Dennis Schroeder. They also got Trevor Ariza in the 3-team trade, in which they later in March of earlier this year was traded to the Miami Heat. They also received Al Horford in a trade with the Philadelphia 76ers, in which they just recently traded Horford back to one of his former teams, the Boston Celtics. They also received George Hill, Ty Jerome, and Justin Jackson from various trades they made. They also signed Moses Brown, who also just got recently traded to the Celtics, and they drafted Alex Pocavez, sorry if I mispronounced that, who I'll get to in a little bit, and just signed Josh Hill, who is an undrafted free agent. The roster each year has been getting younger, and it will stay that way for another extended period of time due to the fact that OKC have so many draft picks that they have acquired from all the trades they made across the past several years. Now, before moving on to the next section of the video, I'd like to briefly touch on Ludor and Alex Pocavez. First, let's take a look into Ludor, who's actually a great defender already in this league and has potential to become an amazing two-way player. Now, while Dort might not be the most efficient on the court and lacks consistency, there has been signs pointing towards him possibly becoming an above-average 3-and-D player. He's heading into his 3rd season, and so far each year his job responsibility is significantly increasing. I wouldn't be surprised with the right coaching that within the next couple of years, Dort and Shai become some sort of dynamic duo in a sense. This past season, after appearing in 52 games, Dort has averaged 14 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists, while shooting an underwhelming 38% from the field, but makes up for it by shooting 34% from long range. Now, I'll be moving to Alex Pocavez. Alexis is currently only 19 years old and still has tons of time to learn and develop. I'm high on him for numerous of reasons, like his height, which he's listed as 7 foot, his skill set, etc. But there are a lot of cons about him, and there needs to be some changes made in order for him to have success in this league. To start off, as I mentioned before, some things I like about him are his height, but you can also use that as a con because he is extremely skinny for his physique, especially for his height as well. He currently weighs in at 190 pounds, and for being 7 feet, that doesn't give a good look, especially if he wants to play big in the modern NBA. Another negative about Alexis is that he was was very inconsistent throughout the season, similar to Ludor. Obviously, it was only his rookie season, but he was averaging 34% from the field while putting up nearly 10 shots per game. Overall, in his rookie season, Poku averaged 8.2 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 2.2 assists while playing nearly 24 minutes a game. As I stated before, he's only at the age of 19 and has so much time to develop, so I see why people don't want to get too concerned about him. Heading into the 2021 NBA draft, the OKC Thunder have 6 draft picks, including 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks, and over the course of the next 5 years, the Thunder have a total of 28 draft picks, which is the most in the NBA. In this segment of the video, I would like to discuss 3 prospects I think would really fit well with the OKC roster. The first prospect I have is Scottie Barnes, who is a guard/forward out of the Florida State. He's only 19 years old and is projected to be a lottery pick. Scottie in his one season with Florida State averaged 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists, while only starting in 7 of the 24 games he appeared in. The reason why he's projected to go so high is due to his incredible potential. He's stated to be a point guard in the body of a power forward, standing at 6'9" and 225 pounds. He has a 7'2" wingspan that can ball handle, read defenses, and play make. He really thrives on the defensive end. His physique allows him to guard both forwards and bigs, and his pro comparison, in my opinion, is Ben Simmons, but a very slightly better shooter. His jump shot is pretty robotic, and in a way is not really that good of a free throw shooter, similar to Simmons. Some other comparisons are Draymond Green and Thaddeus Young. He is a raw project, but if he can be trained and developed correctly, he can turn into something great. My second prospect on the list is Jonathan Kuminga. The 6'8", 220-pound forward averaged 15.8 points, 7.2 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1 steal, and 0.8 blocks per game, which can get the job done on both ends of the floor. At the age of only 19, his athleticism and quickness can guard at the perimeter while also protecting the paint from entering bigs. Similar to Scottie, he is amazing on defense, but still has some things to clean up on the offensive end. He's also listed as probably being a top 5 pick and is described to be a primary defender while also being a secondary scorer. He has shades of Jaylen Brown and OG Anunoby. The third and final player I have on this list is Keon Johnson. Keon is a 19-year-old guard that is coming off a 11-3-2 season from Tennessee and earning a spot on the SEC All-American first team. He's arguably the most athletic prospect in the draft, and his speed and quickness makes him hell for the opponents on fast break. He's a pretty good defender that can bring versatility when guarding guards and forwards, and similar to the other 2 prospects I mentioned, he is also an offensive project, but could fit really well on this OKC roster for the depth of the backcourt. His weaknesses are primarily playmaking and shooting, which can be developed once he enters the NBA. He is also projected to be a go top 10, and this two-way wing has shades of Victor Oladipo. I think all 3 of these prospects can make an immediate impact on the Thunder if they are developed correctly on the offensive end and are able to fit in the system. I could see OKC taking one of them with their 6th overall pick if any of them are available. Transitioning into the final part of the video, I'd like to discuss a couple of possible trades that OKC Thunder can do to become a better overall team without going overboard, and then finally talking about what we can expect from the Thunder in these upcoming seasons if they played their cards correctly. The first trade I'd like to discuss is acquiring Karl-Anthony Towns from the Minnesota Timberwolves. For this trade, I have the Thunder sending Darius Bazley and Ty Jerome alongside 2 first-round picks in exchange for cash. This trade could be good for both sides. To start off with the Timberwolves, they are also a rebuilding team that could use the 2 first-round picks for future assets while receiving young players in Darius Bazley and Ty Jerome who have shown bits of potential. Darius is coming off a solid season, starting in all 55 games for the Thunder. He has appeared in and also averaged 13, 7, and 2 while playing about 31 minutes a game. As for Jerome, he played only in 33 games this past season, starting in only 1, but did average 10 points per game, shooting nearly 45% from the field. Now, before I move on why this trade would be good for the OKC Thunder, I'd like to mention that the Thunder itself might not even offer this trade because they do have some solid players in Bazley and Jerome who are very young and could be solid pieces for the future. Now, moving on to why Cat to OKC would be a good idea. For starters, Karl-Anthony Towns is only at the age of 25 and has been on a pretty bad Timberwolves team for primarily of his career. Now, moving to Oklahoma won't entirely help that specifically, but it will allow him to team up with a rising star in Shai and a young team in the making. I could definitely see this somehow happen if both teams are up for it, because in the end, the Timberwolves are also in a rebuilding phase, and I don't really think they will be that hurt from the trade as many people think. Another trade I'd like to mention is trading for Kristaps Porzingis. Look, We all know Kristaps played like absolute trash against the Clippers in this year's playoffs, but I truly believe he still can be a valuable asset for another team, a team that can possibly fit his playstyle better. Also, it's worth noting, due to the rough stretch of games Kristaps had in the playoffs against the Clippers, his price value could have actually decreased, and it could be way easier for the Thunder to acquire him. He can be a very solid contributor and just needs to avoid getting in the injury situations, as his durability isn't the best, and the best, he is currently a shell of himself that he was in New York, also known as the Unicorn. A possible trade for Kristaps is Darius Bazley and a first round pick for Kristaps. Now, to some of you that might be too much, or it might be too less. I think this would be good value for both sides, and as I mentioned before, Bazley has a good amount of potential and could fit in with the current Mavericks roster. Other players the Thunder can trade for is Marvin Bagley, who I wouldn't give up all hope on, and possibly John Collins if they're willing to give up enough. Now, heading to the final part of the video, what can you expect from the Thunder in the upcoming season? For all you Thunder fans watching the video, you might not like what I'm about to say, but I truly believe this is the path to you guys' success. Firstly, they probably won't make the playoffs for another couple of seasons, mainly due to the fact the West is significantly stacked, and the Thunder are still trying to find their permanent future pieces. So I would say maybe in the 2023-2024 season, I could see them making a low seed playoffs with developed young players and led by their star Shai and another big name player they should hopefully acquire. Because in the end, Shai is the main building block, and the Thunder know that. The main thing is to build around him. With that being said, they should be able to compete with the higher up teams if they're able to do that, even acquiring possible veterans along the way to guide those younger players they have on the roster. Now guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like the video and subscribe, and also let me know in the comments below, what do you think the Thunder should do for their future, and what videos do you want to see us make in the near future. And now with that being said, I'll catch you guys next time, and peace.